the dog catchers of the children world, like the truant officers.
You're
exactly.
right.
Like if you're not,
they got the nets.
if you're not where you're supposed to be.
Gotcha. Oh, you should be in school. I gotcha, kid.
Oh.
Let me out of this thing. Let me out.
That's exactly the thing.
Why, hello there, freak. So glad you could join us. Time to listen in on another seriously silly conversation with Gretchen and the Lukes.
Lukes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Gretchen. Whoa, that was official.
Welcome to the conversation.
Oh, I'm glad to be half of it.
All right. Man, today, this is what's on my mind. So this morning, I am facing a real life situation that for me it's personally triggering.
Oh, no.
Stressful.
Oh, no.
Full of lots of baggage.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And
delicious.
What this situation was a date with the Truancy court.
Uh-oh.
Now, do you know what the word truancy means?
Does that mean that you are late for traffic school? No, I know truancy is, I remember truant officers were always scary as a kid because if you didn't go to school and you got a visit from the truant officer, you could get in big trouble, maybe even getting taken away from your parents and having to live and pound rocks.
Right, like the dog catchers of the children world, like the truant officers. You're
exactly.
right. Like if you're not,
they got the nets.
If you're not where you're supposed to be.
Gotcha. Oh, you should be in school. I gotcha, kid.
Oh.
Let me out of this thing. Let me out.
That's exactly the thing. So I had a date this morning at Truancy court.
Go on.
Now, and let me just explain to you a little backstory here on how come I had a date this morning at Truancy court. So, first of all, I'm a mom with ADHD. Had the ADHD my whole life.
Yes,
it's the way I be.
Yes, you do.
So, and anyone listening who also has ADHD, especially if you are a mom, you know, it's the basic life things that you have to juggle on a daily basis. All the basic little tiny things. What people might even go, well, any idiot can do that. Those things are the biggest effing challenges of our world. So, truancy obviously has to do with attendance. All right. So my kids throughout the school year, whenever they're sick, I know in my mind, I got to send a note in, make sure this absence is excused. All right. Not a problem. Like, I'm not refusing to do this, right? This is not a protest I'm taking. Like, I don't have to give any excuses if my kid's not there. He's not there. He's mine. He's not yours. Like, sometimes maybe my behaviors come from that place. But in this case, I'm like, I'm down with that. I literally just, between me having ADHD and like my son being, I don't want to box him in with a label, but you know, he's a little he can be forgetful.
Yeah.
Well, he's a kid, I guess. You're just allowed to be that
11.
way. He's 11. Okay. So what's my problem?
He's an excellent student, by the way.
He is like so smart. He's doing he literally like nailed the school year. It was such a great year.
Straight A's. Yeah.
Totally.
Almost straight A's.
So, but we had 10 absence notes that did not get, or, 10 unexcused absences.
I believe you're allowed 13 before it triggers.
It must be less than 10.
No, I mean 13. Where if it's more than 13, then that alone, not just 13 absences is the amount you're allowed to have total.
Oh, okay. So that is total bullshit too.
Yeah, not 13,
we'll get back into that because oh my God, there's reasons behind why I have issues with this. But
right.
But the way I got tangled up in the red tape of society life was literally due to that thing with myself, with my ADHD, where I try my best and then I'm going to drop balls. It's just going to happen. So the end of the school year is coming and I get like a warning, a phone call or email or whatever from my daughter's school saying, hey, we noticed you've got some unexcused absences. You want to take care of this.
With her too?
Yes, with her too.
So this is a across the board ball dropping.
Oh yeah. It's like, I don't know. I forget the note in the morning. I found notes in the car where I had the note, but obviously I didn't hand it to the kid, or maybe the kid took it.
Well,
but
in your defense, those mornings are crazy. I mean, the traffic to get up to the school, in the school, dropping the kids off. Teachers there's hundreds of kids running in. All those cars are coming. No one's parking. Everyone's sort of strolling by. So, in your defense,
the drop off pickup is stressful.
That's a very stressful thing. So then to add that to that, adding a note. I'm just going to give you not a pass, but I'm just saying that's not easy.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It feels that way. It feels stressful sometimes, for sure. So,
but you got to get that in. That's part of the system.
Well, exactly.
Or they're going to red flag
exactly.
you. The truancy man going to come for you. The truancy man going to come for you.
You got to trigger the law.
He's got the net. Man. He's got the net.
And I have this
a
very inflated and irrational fear
it's my mom's
of the
fault.
law.
It's my mom's fault. Let me out of the
exactly.
net.
So, anyway, I'm like, oh, great. I'm so glad this school gave me the heads up because I want to, I'm going to handle this. These balls won't drop. Yay. It's going to be like an ADHD victory. So I go to my daughter's school, settle everything with them within their computer system. I have notes for whatever dates are there. Boom, done. So my son's school hasn't said I haven't gotten a warning of any truancy, but I better go check because I'm sure I've dropped these balls too. So I go there, same thing. They have a couple that are like recent ones. I already had the notes for those. And I asked, can you check and just see? Because with my daughter just now, like I had all these absences that I had spaced out. This is what you got to do
when you drop a ball.
Yeah. And I even said, I do my best. I go, and that's just an area where I struggle.
You probably had some laughs with the lady.
Yes. Because then I'm very sort of, a little too personal.
And good for you.
So they look in the computer, double check, tell me everything's fine. I say, okay, great. Because I wouldn't want any of the truancy issues.
No,
I don't.
Of course
and
not.
I make a joke. So then now I'm going about life, whatever, school's out. And then I don't know when this came in the mail, but what came in the mail then is a notice to appear 9 a.m. on whatever date before so-and-so judge of truancy court.
Yeah.
And it's not in my name.
No,
it's in your name.
It's my name.
Which is my husband, their dad.
Why are you bringing me into this? I didn't do this.
Which is so how I felt because I'm going to handle this on my own anyway. People don't need to know my business. Like if I'm dropping balls, I'll handle it.
Now, just as a quick side note, we're married and we both co-parent these kids. We both have equal access to these kids.
Yes.
We both are on all the paperwork.
We're both up at the schools.
We're both on the birth certificate. We are both at the school. So there's no reason for them to put me on there over you. It should have been both of us, and then there's equal share of the responsibility.
I can only figure it's the patriarchy.
That's what I was thinking.
Where I was like, what do y'all, is this like the 1940s? And so everything automatically goes to Mr. Michael Lucas, Or,
women and children first, and I'll take the responsibility on the boat and go down with the ship. Go, go, go.
Right? I'm surprised it didn't, maybe it was to me. Maybe it said Mrs. Michael Lucas, the way it's almost like, you lose your whole identity within the marriage.
Go ahead, you may speak. You may deal with the truancy.
It totally did ring of that to me. It did. There was a twinge of that where I was like, what the fuck?
Like that to me. I don't like I don't like the patriarchy any more than you do because it means I got to do more work.
Yeah. Right. Good point.
I don't want to be the only one in charge of the kids. Please don't put me the only one in charge of the kids. I don't want to be the alpha male. I don't want to be the patriarch. That's not the guy you want in charge, is it? He kind of melts like butter on a hot Texas day. Nope,
they just keep insisting on everything goes through him. Yep. Everything goes through him. What was in the written language and all, little lady.
That's funny. Nate Bergazzi's got a bit that he talks about that where they contact him. And he's like, really? You had both my wife and my phone number and I'm the one?
Oh, yeah, right?
You might. I don't even know that. What school is this? What school does he go to? So that's kind of how I felt. I related to Nate, in his bit when they got a hold of me and they put me in so anyway, so I'm on the paperwork, but you said I'll handle it.
But yeah,
which I appreciate.
Yeah, because it was like
it's my bad. I'll handle it.
Yeah, and the reason I felt specifically on me is because these absences occurred like during you've had some chunks of time where you've been out of town in Cleveland, and so it literally I was the parent on duty of the. Sure. During these. So it was like, it wasn't even like we both were here doing our normal thing and I could go, hey, we both forgot.
I wasn't even in town. I didn't do none of this. So why you put my name on the paperwork?
So anyway, first I'm just like, God damn it. I'm somehow getting tied up in the red tape and I tried to avoid it because I don't want to get entangled in any systems.
I'm in the
because
system.
I have such this deep-seated, it feels so natural to who I am, but rebellious, anarchistic sense whenever to deal with society system. So anyway, we have this truancy thing and the appointment was today. So I tell you, I wake up.
Well, that's why I knew something was up because it was before 9 a.m. and I saw you and I was like, whoa, something's going down. What happened?
And
you weren't happy either.
Oh no,
you were triggered.
Oh no,
can I say that? Is that okay?
Oh yeah.
I noticed that you were.
I woke up.
I kind of wanted to avoid you. Like, I don't like to be around you when you're triggered like that because I feel like I'm a white man. I am and part of what I graduated from college with was management information systems.
Oh God, systems. And you love systems.
Major, and so I am a systems guy. I love systems, and so I don't like being bound by the governmental systems. Those I think sometimes are a waste of time and energy, but I do understand and appreciate the use and need for systems when you're organizing a society, a group of people. So that said, I'm not the guy with empathy about you hating the systems.
Right. And like, so when we get this notice, I feel like there's several weeks until today.
It was
the court stuff is always like far out, which is why they like don't want to hear any excuses.
Right. You've had plenty of time.
I didn't know the date or which I have.
We told you 3 months ago.
And I have actually messed up court dates in my past. So there's also baggage and fear and panic just around anything to do with courts because I've had my story. I've lived my life.
It sounds like you have some experience with the systems.
Got a bit of a criminal mind. I got a bit, like I've got a past. it's a bit sordid. It's interesting,
kind of funny.
whatever.
And you're a Buddhist.
Absolutely.
That's the fun dichotomy of you. The irony of Gretchen.
Right? Yes, it's true.
The evil Buddhist.
The human.
Yeah, the human. That's the truth of it. We're all battling this humanity. Oh.
So anyway, when I woke up, you're right. You were right also to call out my energy and to just like separate because it was like it was like I was feeling so many just feelings.
Oh my God.
But they weren't really attached to words. So all that really felt like was a restless, irritated, frustrated.
Yeah. I never saw you so angry drinking coffee. It's one of your joys.
I
know.
To
drink coffee, and you were like angrily sipping on your beverage, and I was like, "Oh boy, red flag, red flag."
And I know you go, "Hey, so they said that if you meet up with so and so before the 9:00 there, they might dismiss it." Blah, blah. And I feel like I don't remember exactly what I said, but my reation was just like, "Whoa, way out there, kind of bitchy." It was kind of like, I don't know, like
maybe I will, maybe I won't.
Maybe I won't. Yes.
Like, well, I'm saying that you should. You definitely should. It's a great way to not be in front of a judge, which is your biggest nightmare, or one of them.
I don't know why I had such who knows?
Yeah, it was
because I remember you being like, "Well, no,
I'm triggered."
Exactly, and so it's like I'm in fight mode.
You got your fists are up.
Yes, and I'm like. I hit a point where I feel like I'm not safe to be around humans because I will fight a face.
Yeah, and
anybody starts talking to me, I'm like,
you've never hit me like physically, but you're talking metaphorically. You're ready to punch the world.
Yeah, totally. And like my energy and my words.
We're not a violent couple. We don't because there's some couples that get to that where they start smacking each other, and that's not. We don't do that. We feel like it often.
Yeah, and so I was.
I see it in your eyes. I see you want to strike me.
I want to.
You want to strike me down, but you don't.
Man, so I'm feeling all of those things. But so wait, this is what I wanted to say. When we get this message, when I get this, court order that you have to show up in court, and I'm like, God damn it.
Threat of warrant.
So then I'm there's a point of time where I'm with my sister and our kids and the family and stuff, and we're just down in Galveston in the Texas little Gulf Coast there, and we're hanging out. And I'm telling her, God, I'm like, you're never going to believe it. Or actually, you'll totally believe it. Because afterwards, she's like, why do you think I would never believe that happened to you?
You're not going to believe I dropped a ball. No kidding.
And I got official business now to handle. She was kind of like,
be kidding
I can't believe you think that I wouldn't believe it.
Never.
But so I tell her about the absences, blah, blah, blah. But at that phase, right, I'm like, all I'm focused on is how much I think this whole thing is a bullshit racket.
Yep.
She's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, it's a bullshit racket because first of all, because of public school situation, I already know that for their budget, I know that their budget is impacted by attendance.
Yeah.
I know that attendance has numbers that then mean things as you go up within the system, blah, blah, blah.
That's how they tell.
So the number of absences is coming from a place. It's like it's coming from this place of economy, of efficiency, right? Of how we're going to divide funds.
In your to you, because I think I have.
Ooh,
I can
okay.
push back on that.
So this is my belief about how
there you go.
schools operate within their budgets. or how they, it affects their budgets.
Yeah, of course.
So I already feel like that has nothing to do with my child. Like if my child is doing well in school and is keeping up, because again, like you said, our son right now, he was A's and a few B's. Like he's doing well, even with all of these absences.
And with teachers complimenting him and
like
loving
it's
him.
going fine. So I feel like the very fact that you are sending me something that says for truancy and a warrant.
But can I ask you a question?
F off.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If you put yourself for a moment, forget that you love your son and that you're a great mom and that he's doing well in school, and put yourself in the position of somebody who's working for the Dallas Independent School District, the DISD. Now, you have thousands and thousands of kids that you're in charge of their education. That's your job, is to make sure you shuffle them through this machine, this system of teachers and grades and grade levels. And you have to keep track of every one of them so that they are all accountable for and can get through this system, because that's the job of the school district. Okay. So how would you, if you looked and said someone has missed 10 days of school, wouldn't that be a red flag for you? That, because would you assume that a kid is as bright as your son, our son is, who could handle being away that much from school and still get that good of grades? And is it not unbeneficial for the rest of the class to not have a kid who's that smart and that kind and all the things that he is, not be there in school, even though he's doing well? Isn't his presence a way for the other kids to do well also? Not that that's his job, but it's a benefit of having a kid like that in your class. So there are other ways to look at it.
Yeah.
But no,
because I'm like, not my problem, not my business. And the thing is,
that's a YP, not an MP.
The thing is, like, because here's what was my problem. Okay, so say I'm that person who works for the school. I've got all these numbers, right? And I see a kid with absences. Personally, I feel like the system should look at a whole picture. Like absences, grades, and then or like behavioral reports or incidents.
Like, is he getting teacher notes and being sent home and
to
disciplinary
see like
issues?
Is this child having any sort? But it ticks off on attendance alone, and because it has to do with the money.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would use our brains and look more whole picture at things, but we're not, because it's a huge system, and I get it. But that's why I got beef with systems.
Yeah.
Because they're not very, they don't really serve individual humans. And I understand that that's a struggle, blah, blah, blah. But so my sister tries to come at me the same way like you just now did.
Your sister and I are so
because she sees me, I'm getting all jacked up on the beach, right? She's just trying to chill. And I'm like, and this motherfucker, I'm tangled up in the red tape and blah, blah. And she's like, whoa. She's like, okay, man, okay. She goes, but listen. And my sister's a teacher. Yeah. Okay.
So she's
all up in the school system. Right. I'm afraid for her every day. I'm like, you're going inside a system to work. Please be strong.
I don't mind. It's actually kind of nice.
So she says,
coming up.
Hey, Gretch, I get what you're saying. I know what you're saying. She goes, but just think about all of the kids who maybe are not living in good circumstances, or who might be living in neglectful or abusive circumstances. She's like, how is any outside agency or help going to begin to know which kids might need help?
That's my point.
She goes, the absence thing is just one of the things that can trigger.
That's my point.
And she says, you have nothing to worry about, because you know that when they look further, they'll say, oh, this is just stops with the absences. This child is fine. Because, of course, because I'm like, CPS going to come in and no one's going to tell me how to raise my, and I would get like so heated. And, she's like, so, you could also like just know that, hey, this is one way of trying to make sure that kids aren't getting lost out there in the shuffle, right?
Yeah.
Which was smart, because, of course, she played my heart, because I get all mad at systems, but, right, I'm like I love human beings for the most part. Like, I really do. Yeah, absolutely. And so,
although you do have a slight problem with OPKs.
I mean, I don't want to hang out with kids, and I mean, but like I appreciate and value and
concept.
Yes, and would always protect.
Yeah.
And whenever I'm around kids, I get into it.
You kind of have like a yada 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 attitude about your.
But I prefer to go to a restaurant that like doesn't have a lot of kids. Oh, I mean, not now that we are parents. It's a lifestyle.
Well, our kids are fine.
Around
well
kids
behaved.
now,
They don't. run around.
But my sister, so I'm like, yeah, you're right. That, you know what? I am going to look at it that way because how else, and it is just
how else can we do it?
But I did have to say, I am going to say though,
wait a minute.
that
I just made that same point that your sister made, and when I made that point, you rolled your eyes and told me I was full of it, and then she makes that point, and you're like, and she's real smart, and she makes a good point because she's a teacher.
But you didn't say anything about a way to find abused or neglected kids.
Oh,
you go, and maybe it helps other kids having your son who is doing well.
But
I
said it helps us find the kids who are slipping through the cracks. I think I said something to that effect. I'll have to listen to what I said, but that's
look. You and her are like, you're like, I'm pretty sure that that's the advice I gave.
I gave the exact same advice and you didn't like it.
It was similar. And also you should know, I didn't totally buy hers either. I just said,
okay, fair enough.
Basically, I said, technically, I go, that doesn't change anything for me because but I'm going to actually reframe it. I'm going to soften. I'm going to let go of my fire on this because I said, the truth is, I don't know how to begin to go about ways to help find kids that really are in bad situations. I said, and the truth is that does really truly matter and means so much to me. So this is one of the ways I get that. I said, but you do know.
Bow to the system.
The fact that they won't at least add a secondary category of absences plus grades.
Yeah. It should be 3, absences, grades,
and
disciplinary.
I said, that's how you're never going to convince me that all this absence business
doesn't
have anything to do with well-being.
It's for the kid.
It has to do with the budget.
Right, of course.
So I'm just saying the system always serves the system. But I get it. You got to jump through hoops. It's like, I understand, I've made an infraction. I get it.
But okay, so back to your story. You have jumping through the hoops. This morning you are doing what you're supposed to be doing. So it makes me laugh because my name is on this thing, yet you are going in because you feel responsible for it. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no way they're going to be okay with my name. It's like at the airport. It's like, listen, we're both Lucas's. I'm going to fly on his flight and his ticket. Are we cool?
Maybe I thought I was a 1940s housewife where I go into the store and I'm like, I'm his wife. He's my husband. So just put it on our, I can speak kind of like, you're right. It was absurd to think though that, you can swap out people with official business.
So is there a warrant out on for my arrest?
Well, there might be because they did say you can't do that. They go, you can't come in his place.
They told you that?
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. So I was.
Yeah, I get there.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not at the court building that I thought it was at, but luckily I Googled it in enough time. But I thought it was at this one court building, which is literally 15 minutes away. It's at a court building that's more like 45 minutes away.
Oh,
and it's morning traffic time. So I'm like, fuck. Okay. And I'm like, I've got to get a handle on my energy because I know that even though I have all this angst about stuff like this, I ultimately know when I walk in, that's not going to serve me or get me anywhere. And I know I want to walk in there with a good and cooperative energy.
Okay, well, that's smart.
Right. But I'm like, it's a long way to go from how I'm feeling to knowing where I want to be.
Being stuck in the car in traffic for 40 minutes before that. I would be walking in there going, you made me do this. I'm very angry.
And then
I'm going to tell you about it.
The low fuel light comes on.
Oh, no.
No joke. And I'm like, fuck. And I'm like, I'm going to have to get there early. Michael told me, got to get there early. Got to meet this thing and dismiss it. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's going to be fine. So I'm doing all kinds of things. I'm talking in the car. Oh, another couple crazy things happened in the car where there's balloons that I forgot were in the car from when I picked you guys up for Welcome Home. Some on the tollway, and they're randomly flying all around the car.
No.
And I can't catch them, and my low fuel light's on.
Oh.
And I'm trying to drive to the court. Oh my God. And not wanting to look like a crazy person. Because also,
too late.
Okay, full confession, deep secret fear. I have always had a fear that the system somehow will take me away.
Ooh,
as a loony, lunatic.
You are a loony. So
we're
really trying to hide you from all manners of.
I get have this other fear that is about somehow the way I be.
Yeah.
Just them going, ma'am, you're just unsuitable for society.
You have to understand that I can make that phone call at any given point. So you should be kissing my ass a little bit more.
That actually is the one thing that makes me nervous about the fact that you and I are married. I mean, now we've been married. Well, we're going on. It's been, I don't know. We've been together over 20 years.
Yeah, 22 years.
I don't know how long of that we've been legally married, a crap ton.
17, I believe. So
yeah.
I think
so clearly, I guess so far you haven't done that.
I had 5 years to bow out of it if I wanted to before we ever got married, and I still went ahead with it. So
yeah.
Who's the real crazy one here?
But
you
also, are you just masterminding? Because by being legally married to me, you have that power to try to have me institutionalized.
For what though? It's not
I don't know, but men have been doing that for centuries.
Are you a billionaire and I have like access to money once you're out of the picture? No, that's not. That'd be the only reason why I would do that. Otherwise, I'm just have to do more work.
Yeah, that's true. Why would you want to get me out of the household? Do you want me? I could even list all the things I did today.
You do half of everything. You're
hell. I went to court
person.
in your name today.
Exactly. I would have had to go there, plus do laundry and dishes and sweep and everything else you do half of.
So, well, when I did show up, because I made it there because I knew I did not have time to stop and get gas.
Yeah,
and it was going to be too long.
But you're worried you're going to run out.
Yeah, but I felt like I had enough miles. I didn't know. Whatever. Boy. I made it. I get there. And I got there early. Like the court time was 9 a.m. I rolled up about 8:33.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. I was like, okay, compose myself, did just a full energy shift where I was like, okay, Gretch, now drop all those narratives that get you all riled up about systems.
Kiss a little ass. Let's kiss some societal ass.
It was like Yosemite Sam part of me. Back down, buddy. We ain't fighting. Right. Buddha part of me that's been here, right? Now let's come in and go. I want to have the most cooperative, easy going experience with this.
Smart.
I want this to have flow and grace, and I want to smile. I want to go in there happy, right? So Perfect. I do this to myself. Okay. So, and I get in that headspace. I go in, make a little chit chat with the two cops sitting at the desk, about asking if I need to check in or be searched. And they're like, no. Because most places you have to, there's no metal. It threw me because I'm like, there's no metal detectors.
They're like, stop being so friendly, you truancy
I guess
case.
It's not so, I don't know, criminally
Why don't you put some of that energy into your child?
Yeah, right.
We wouldn't be here.
Why didn't you ask about policies and excuse notes?
Right. That would have been more to the point.
And they say something like, we are just here for police business, which I didn't know what they meant, but I just said, oh, okay. I go, well, luckily I got nothing criminally going on today. I go, just a few absent notes. And then sometimes I say things and they don't, and I'm like, why do you always say so much extra? Because to a cop, you're already weird. Anyway.
Cocaine in my purse. I'm on acid. And I have children.
I'm like, dude.
Anyhow,
you might get locked up. You don't want them to take you.
Do you guys want to buy some mushrooms? Oh, shoot. Why do I even say that? I don't even have mushrooms.
Stop interacting, Gretchen. Stop. Just say the facts. So then I go up the stairs.
Can I touch your gun? Can I touch your gun? Can I touch your gun? I'm going to touch your gun.
I go in. I'm in a good mood. They ask for me to give them their paperwork. As I'm handing to them, I say, this came in my husband's name. However, I am the one that was here that was doing it. I said he was even out of town. I go, so this is my issue. And then that's when they inform me, that's not a thing. You can't swap out, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I'm trying to explain why I think that's a problem and why doesn't it come to me or whatever. And they're like, yeah, I don't know. And then another woman pipes up from back a desk behind and she's like, I've had this happen several times, ma'am. She's like, I don't know why. She goes, it's like, I don't know. The issue happens at the school. I don't know what,
right.
Whatever. But anyway, point being, she's like,
not the first rodeo.
Kind of like, I don't know, but there's been other situations where it's always a mom often saying it's triggering dad. So I go jokingly with my fist raised, right? Like a la Hamilton or some sort of like with just way too much. You know how I get extra sometimes, right? Okay. So I had switched out a feisty bad mood, but I was a little bit like too over the top happy mood, right? Where it was too much. But anyway, so I raise my fist. There's all these parents in the waiting room. And I make my joke or statement about the patriarchy.
Oh, no.
I go, you know why, don't you? I go, it's the patriarchy, the GD patriarchy. And I say it like so animated, Mike.
That's
like
hilarious.
Full on.
You're doing bits.
Fist in the air.
Right.
Yeah. And
were they rolling with laughter in hysterics?
It did not land on these two ladies. And I was like,
ma'am, have a seat.
Oh my God, it's too much. Even though, but then here I had to tell myself, Gretch, resist the urge to don't over-explain why the patriarch is funny. Right. Why? Oh, because I'm like, don't explain, don't stop, shut up. No words, stop talking. And that's just my inner voice whenever I'm trying to control my verbal impulse issues. But anyway, so as we're talking about that, someone has by now looked up my actual case. Which at this point looks like, I don't know what the judge is going to do because you can't show up.
No,
and I'm like, so are you saying he's going to get a warrant? And then something pops up and she's like, oh, you know what? Your case has already been dismissed.
Well, thanks for telling us.
And I was like, what? And at this point, I was just so relieved because I realized, fuck, why did I try to come without like thinking I can show up? This is court. Came. It's official business. Gee, now we're going to have to just have another date or blah, blah. But then, and I hear, so I was just happy that somehow it had been dismissed. And I was like,
I was happy too.
Oh my gosh, really? Okay.
No bench warrant. That's a happy day.
Right. And she says, she goes, it looks like it was a issue on the school's part. And so it's already been dismissed.
And you're like, I know.
Oh, right. And anyway, that was exhausting.
That was a tough day for you. A lot of triggers.
Crazy. Oh. And it worked out fine.
And it turns out the whole thing, if we didn't even show up, it would have been fine.
Yes,
we had blown it off.
It already had been dismissed. And you know what? Say I was true to my ADHD nature throughout this whole thing, and you didn't exist.
Yeah.
So say the mail never got opened.
Right.
I would have never even known there was a problem.
Right.
Because it literally resolved. Had I not opened any of the mail, no problem.
No, it would have just been like in your world, then dismissed, and without even no wind ruffling your hair.
Maybe there's something to this. People say, you guys can't adult. You won't even open your mail. I'm like, hey man, this is divine wisdom. This is cosmic wisdom.
I don't think that you should just consider yourself fortunate this time.
It will handle itself.
I don't think that's a good system to undergo.
That's what I do with my check engine light. I go, you know what? This is none of my business. That is going to work it's going to work itself out.
Listen, this is between the engine and the fuel, not me.
Right?
That's a YP, not an MP.
I don't know
what. A lot of YPs going on around here these days.
Muffler, that is between you and the carburetor, not my business.
And I don't even know if that's true. I just know that I've heard those words.
You're right. I shouldn't make assumptions. I can't speak. Have I lived under the hood? Nope.
I'm under the hood instead of in the hood. I'm living under the hood, next to the engine block.
Oh.
Well, I'm glad you said. Well, you know what? I'll say this. I want to give you an Attagirl, except I don't want to be condescending because
I'll fly off the effing handle.
Yeah, because you're
I'm
a woman,
already feisty
and I have
today,
3 sisters,
and I hate the
and a mom
gal.
and a daughter. So
Not
I don't.
A gal.
Yeah, I didn't say gal. I said girl. Attagirl.
Oh, that either.
But that's.
Well, you say nice job, friend.
Okay, well, nice job, friendo.
Thank you.
But it comes off of like Attaboys are very. We like those. Men like Attaboys. An Attaboy is just a.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's like we
even those actual words. Attaboy.
Well, it's a joke. It's sort of like a sarcastic, attaboy, you know, because we never get those. Most people, most men are just like, do your job and shut up. And so when someone gives you an attaboy, it's when someone notices that you did like an extra work or you did good work. So,
got it.
It's not necessarily, you don't say those words. You just say, though, you deserve an attaboy.
Oh, instead of just actually giving a compliment. Or you might say something like,
"Oh, nice work," or "Nicely done." That's an attaboy. That's the under the heading attaboys.
Got it.
Right. So attagirls.
But do you actually use that phrase ever with any adult male friends? I'm just curious. Let's honestly think.
Yeah, I've said the word attaboy. Yeah, but men don't have that thing about like. I mean, I guess if you're a different race and you call someone a boy, there's a different connotation to that. But in terms of men versus women being called girls, you have like a whole background of being called girls that's very offensive.
Well, and I think it can be. I think any adult being called boy or girl it can feel like an insult. Because it's in putting them in a child category, sort of.
Exactly. But like sports, attaboy, way to go, boy. Like that's been used for a long time up until people got picky about calling men boys. But, in the athletic world, that was kind of not even thought about, but now that you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, you can't do that. These are grown men.
And I guess truly it's all context. Like if it's me and myself, I'll be like, it's a girl's night.
Right. Like, what's wrong with that?
But if you're about to say, "Attagirl," I don't know. You're right. I'm like,
especially coming from a man.
Me?
I'm a man. I can't say that.
You can't.
I know better than that. But
nice job, friend.
Yeah, nice job, friend. Nice job, friend.
I like
excellent work you put through, sir and/or madam, a grown adult. I don't know. It just doesn't have the pizzazz of "Attagirl."
Yeah,
attaboy.
Yeah, I guess it depends.
Big fat out. Well, and you know what?
Because I'm cool feeling offended and fighting. Because I'm telling you, I'm feisty today. So
you are
bring
easily
it.
triggered.
It'll feel good. Give me a source to channel it.
Attagirl. Way to be honest. Attagirl.
Ugh. Official business.
You don't like it.
We try not to get tangled up in that.
Well, you can't help it. You have 2 kids. We have 2 kids. We're in the system.
In the system.
Oy. Well, thanks for the conversation.
Thank you, Luke. Let's do it again.
Absolutely.